April 24th, Bruce Porter.
Ignore big questions and faith crumbles. Wrestle hard with God and faith grows. In the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, Bruce Porter stared at the vast starry heavens, a sob stuck in his throat. He built a campfire in his backyard and sat next to it. Lord, you're going to have to explain these things to me because I don't get it. The wallet-sized photo of God in his mind didn't match the horrors that he had witnessed. For years, Bruce had served those reeling from tragedy. He had stood next to Rachel Scott's mother as the Columbine High School massacre had unfolded, and she discovered her daughter had been shot. He had wept with firefighters at Ground Zero as they searched for the living among the rubble caused by the terrorists on 9/11. He had prayed with grieving police officers after a secondary school shooting in Germany, 2002. Bruce believed the gospel traveled with least resistance over the golden wire of compassion. So he took the love of Christ into trauma, sorrow, and calamity. Sometimes he spoke at rallies or brought monetary gifts. Always, he walked among the hurting. He listened, prayed, showed them they were not alone. But Bruce's recent trip to Russia destroyed him. He had seen little bloody handprints around the school walls, put there by children who had tried to jump out of windows to escape the terror. The Christian community in the region traditionally celebrated the first day of primary school by dressing in their best clothes and taking small gifts to the teachers. But this horrific day, September 1st, 2004, Chechen Islamic terrorists in full military gear roared into the school lot and took more than 1,000 children, parents, and teachers captive. Throughout the school, the terrorists placed bombs. Husbands and sons were murdered, while wives and sisters were forced to watch. Women and girls endured unthinkable abuse. After a 3-day siege, the newspaper reported 350 dead. But Bruce saw the mass grave. There were at least 500. More than 700 children and adults were wounded, more than the hospital could house. To assess the wounds and prioritize medical care, the wounded were placed on the grass outside and sprayed with garden hoses. Bruce had walked among the traumatized community, bringing aid, comfort, and his tears. But now, back home, the memories assaulted Bruce, memories he couldn't share. If he told anyone but God, he would wound as he had been wounded. But Bruce couldn't ignore his questions. For faith to survive, he had to find solid footing. Only God could help him. Bruce was reminded of a psalm, Psalm chapter 8 and verse 3. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place. What is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. The stars were his cathedral. Here he would be brutally honest. Bruce was offended at God and figured he should tell God right away. As with human relationships, it was better to keep a short account. Bruce sobbed his pain. Why is there evil? He cried. He talked with God about the horrors he could tell no one else, spewed frustration, anger. If God was good and God was love, why did he allow little kids to be slaughtered, imploding buildings to crush people, or young Rachel to be brutally murdered? He couldn't reconcile it. The honesty brought tremendous healing. Bruce had several sessions next to that campfire. God helped him process pain, anger, and questions. And God showed him when he needed to rest from serving and when he was ready to continue. Eventually, Bruce found peace in the belief that nothing happened in the universe that surprised God. Nothing happened that God could not redeem. While God did not author sin, he had a purpose in everything. Bruce couldn't control anything. God was the ultimate authority. Trusting God is in control of the world became Bruce's way to live without fear. What hard questions do you need to wrestle through with God? Ignore big questions and faith crumbles. Wrestle hard with God and your faith will grow.
Hi, my name is Brad Hawkins, CEO of a cybersecurity company called SaferNet, and I just finished another amazing story by 365 Christian Men about Bruce Porter, a guy that traveled the world and did things that we only see in movies, at least it sounds. But he ran into seeing all kinds of evil that he didn't know what to do with. When you start attributing man's evil to God, our faith is going to fail. We're going to have a very difficult time. We know that God's in control of the world. Why does he allow so much evil? We also know that nothing happens that God cannot redeem. What hard questions are you needing to wrestle with God about? I know that most people have difficult things in their life that they'd like to get answers for. When you ignore the big questions, our faith crumbles. But when you wrestle with God, he will give you the answers and you're going to grow your faith. I challenge you, get a notebook or a journal and write down those hard questions. Just take one page at the top and write down those hard questions. And then write down your questions about it and ask God, can you settle this for me? Can you answer these questions? Over time, you'll find that God will give you those answers. He might give you it all at once. He might give you a little bit at a time, but you just keep asking. And when you get an answer, whether it's a little answer or a big answer, write it down in that journal. Keep track, and you're going to find that God continues to build your faith. He loves telling us his secrets. He loves explaining the world to us if we just ask and seek with our whole heart. Keep your eyes open, listen to wise counsel, read scriptures, seek God's truth, and you'll find that he's telling you directly if you seek him with your whole heart. In Jeremiah, he says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call on me and you'll pray to me and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with your whole heart." That's Jeremiah 29:11 through 13. Seek him with your whole heart, and he will answer those big questions for you. God bless.